Thank you for joining us today for our game development in Unity course launch. So this is a new updated course that Matt has created, and we're going to dive into that here in just a second. I'm Leanne Grant, and I'm a PD specialist here at CodeHS. I've been with CodeHS for almost a year and a half, and before that I was a computer science teacher in both middle school and high school. And I'm very happy to present our speaker today, which is Matt, and I will let him introduce himself.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Matt Arnold, a curriculum developer with CodeHS, and I've been with the company for a little over 3 years now. And prior to that, did a lot of teaching, about 8 years worth of teaching, and then I've been doing online curriculum and different types of computer science and STEM curriculum development for about 10 years now. So excited to be here and excited to talk about this new course. I'm going to hand it back over to Leanne for just a bit.
All right. In the chat, we'd love to get to know you as well. If you want to tell us where you're from or where you're visiting from, if you're not at home right now, and maybe what even you teach or what you have taught if you're coming into computer science as well. We are going to ask that if you do have any questions during the webinar today, that you do put them in the Q&A. Sometimes our questions get lost in the chat, so we'd love for you, if you have a question for us or for Matt specifically, put them in the Q&A, and then I can either stop him, or we have a section at the end that we will answer questions from everywhere. Hi, Kim from Washington. Can go on to the next slide. All right, so if you're joining us and you do not have a current CodeHS account, what we would do is I am going to put this in the chat so you guys have this link. We would love for you to sign up for an account with CodeHS. You will have access to all of our curriculum from there with a free teacher account. If you are signing up today and you do not currently have an account, we do ask you to use your teacher email only because we verify all teachers manually, and we want to make sure that you are not a student trying to become a teacher. So if you do that today, just sign up with your teacher email. All right, so a little bit about who we are at CodeHS. We are a comprehensive platform for teaching computer science. We have everything that you would need for elementary, middle school, and high school computer science. Full curriculum. We have online and offline professional developments. Obviously, you guys are here today, so you're experiencing that. And we have a full platform full of teacher tools and resources. Another thing that we have is an instant feedback submission system for students. We have a lot of grading and tracking tools. And the greatest thing about the majority of our curriculum, minus today's subject, everything is web-based, no additional downloads or plugins needed. Having said that, we will talk about that part here in a little bit as far as the webinar. So I am going to turn this back over to Matt now, and he's going to take over.
All right, thanks, Leanne. So yes, we're going to talk about game development in Unity. And you're probably wondering, wait a minute, we already have a game design in Unity course. Well, this is going to be replacing that, and I'm going to explain a little bit more about why we decided to do that and where this course is different from the current game design in Unity course. The Game Development Unity course is a one-year high school course. It's estimated around 140 contact hours, which is roughly the same as the current Game Design in Unity course. There are no specific prerequisites for this course. However, if students come into this course knowing some basics in programming, like let's say maybe they worked with Scratch or something like that at the middle school level, or developed some web apps or things like that. If they have some kind of basic understanding of what loops are and different conditionals and maybe some basic common concepts of programming, they're going to have a leg up in this course already. But we are going to introduce them to some of those coding concepts in the course as well. So if they've got that background, great. If not, that's okay as well. This does replace the current game design in Unity course. So if you are teaching the game design in Unity course, I do strongly recommend changing over to the game development in Unity course as your curriculum. And I'll explain some reasons why. There are a lot of similarities. We do have some content from the current course that is in the new course. It's just been updated and refreshed, and also aligns with the new Unity software version that we use in this course as well. So there's some benefits to upgrading to this course from your current curriculum. The Unity software version in this new course has been upgraded to version 2022.3.9. We do try to keep up with Unity's 3-year long-term support on all of their software version updates. The biggest thing that you have to know about Unity versions is that the Unity game engine software doesn't really mean that having the latest version is going to be the best of the best. It's not the latest is the greatest kind of thing. You do need to make sure, though, that everybody has the same version. So if your students are using a different version to create their games, and then they send that to you and you're on the newer version of Unity, you're going to have some difficulty opening up their or their game project or other project files. So the key to remember is that everybody in your classroom, including yourself, you're all going to want to use the same version of Unity, whether that be 2022, which is what we recommend that this course is designed for, or whether it be 2020 version or the newer version that's 2023 that might be coming out later. I do know that Unity will be shifting away from these version numbers at some point. I don't have a timeline on when exactly, but I believe they're going to go to like more of a solid number base. So you'll have, instead of a version number, it'll be more like Unity 6 or Unity 7. And we'll be sure to be updating that in this course as those new versions come out. So just be aware of that as well. But don't be alarmed if you are using a newer version than what the course has or later. The key thing is that everybody in your class has the same version. So why the new course? Let's talk about this a bit. The biggest reason why we wanted to do this new course is because it has greater alignment to state course standards and Unity's certified user exams, which are geared for high schoolers. So the previous course, the game design and Unity course, you can kind of see some of the alignments that are on the screen here. They're not exceptionally high. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that the current game design and Unity course does not address 2D game development. It does not also have C# scripting or programming involved in it. So we weren't able to hit a lot of standards that are required now by certain courses from various states and also these certification exams. So I'm happy to say that the new course, as you can see here, aligns much better with a lot of these course standards, as well as the Unity certification exams. Now, they aren't all going to be 100%. The goal here is to get higher alignment and also have a more comprehensive curriculum that we can provide you, the teacher, and your students in getting started with Unity. So we're hoping that this course is going to give you more opportunities later on that you can guide your students to either taking that exam or other opportunities down the road. So higher alignment across the board with this course. Taking a look at the breakdown of the course, I'm going to go through this rather quickly, but you can explore it yourself using the link that's available there on the page. And I believe Leanne might throw that link in the chat as well. I highly encourage you to take a look at the course's overview page as well as the course syllabus, and that'll give you a good idea of what's included in the course. I'm going to just break down what the modules look like for this course. So the very first module is a completely restructured, brand new game design module. It goes in depth into looking at game mechanics, game dynamics, and then also aesthetics. It's known as the MDA framework. And it takes a look at that framework in order to help students analyze games, basically like reverse engineer them. Okay, so take a look at a game. How can we pull this apart and see what makes it tick? What makes it work? What makes it fun for other people to play these games? And then we start introducing students to the game design document and how you can start planning for your games. So that's all in that very first unit. The second unit, we start getting into Unity because we want to get students engaged and we want to get them into the Unity game engine as early as we can. So we're going to talk a little bit about Unity. What does it mean to use a game engine? What are they for? And then the next module, the next unit, we dive into some scripting basics. This is where we get a brief overview of what does it mean to script or put together a C# coding program for a Unity game. And we get students started by actually writing some C# scripts using the Unity API system. So it's like C#, but it's a little different because we're actually accessing a different code base from Unity itself that makes it work really easy with the Unity game engine. So it's a bit of a twist off of C#. And what we do then in that unit is introduce them to game loops, some conditionals, if-else statements, variables, the basics of getting their programs structured and set up. And we start having them use that code and putting it into Unity to test things out early on in the course overall. Then we dive into developing 2D games, and this is a completely brand new unit. Students will go from the beginning of the unit to the end of the unit, walking through the steps of developing a two-dimensional game in Unity. The game is called Zany Slopes, and we decided to have everybody kind of work and build towards the same game, but at the end of the module, students take what they learned and what they know, and then they build their next level. So they're leveling up their skills by building the next level to this two-dimensional game that they've already worked through as part of the unit. You can play this game yourself. You can play an example of the game. If you go to that overview page, it's actually an example that's provided on the overview page. You can click a link and open it up on the Unity Play system online and play the game online in your web browser before you even start teaching this course. So you can see what the game is like and what students will be developing in that module, in that unit. So that along the way through that entire development of that unit, students are scripting their own scripts to make characters move and interact with each other. They're learning about collisions, tile maps, tile sets, the whole everything. So we're kind of applying all of the knowledge that they've already got and then learning new and building on to it as we go through the course. The next module or unit then is develop 3D games. And this is very similar to a lot of the lessons that are in the current game design and Unity course. We've restructured and redone a lot of the lessons that are in that module. We've upgraded everything to the newer version of Unity. There are a few things that Unity has changed in its UI in this newer version that had to be updated in the course itself. So the lessons are now more aligned with that new version. We took all teacher feedback from our current game design and Unity course. We took all of that and tried to make this improved version of that module for you so that we've addressed several things that you may have had issues with in the past with your students or misconceptions maybe that they had as you were trying to teach them different skills in Unity. So we've tried to really enhance that unit for you. It's not a simple one-on-one from one course to the other. After that, students then begin designing their own game. This could be a 2D game or a 3D game. We left it open-ended, and it's completely up to you as the teacher to decide if you want to go one way or the other or leave it open-ended for students. They begin by just designing and brainstorming their game. That's the gist of that unit itself, is really storyboarding, all of the essential game design document pieces that they're going to have to start thinking through and game mechanics mechanics they're going to have to start thinking through. We guide them through that process in that first unit. And you can see the additional, there are two other units later on that both have project at the very beginning. Those are all three of those units work together. So they're working on that same project in all three of those units. We've split that up a little bit by giving them some other pieces of Unity so they can continue maybe working on their project as they're doing these other modules or units. It's kind of up to you as the teacher how you want to guide students through this process, but we thought this would be a good way to start. So as students are kind of getting their foot in the door with that project that they're doing, they're also going to move into the next unit and learn about virtual reality environments. They do not need to have VR headsets for this course. So I want to make that very clear because we've had a lot of questions about that. VR headsets is not a requirement for this course. Students will be using Unity's XR device simulation package in Unity to create a emulator. It's like a simulation of what the VR experience would be that they can run in Unity itself. And it will allow them to do the tracking, the controls, the ray casting. All of that stuff is going to be in that module and in that unit that students can practice with on their very own computers. When they're done with that unit, they'll be creating their own virtual reality experience and then publishing it to the web using that XR device simulator. So other people can play it through the web as well. But it gives them a taste of what does it mean to make a 3D game, and now how do we make that a VR experience? So that's also included in this course. Project, develop your game. This is going to be prototyping and testing that new game that they're building, either 2D or 3D, reworking some of their scripts if some of the prototypes didn't work quite right. Then we move them through exploring the industry. And this unit takes a really good focus on a good clean look on game studios. What does the gaming industry look like overall? What does it mean to get into the game design and game development industry? And what does that look like? What are some careers that they might be interested in? And it's not just focused on programming and game development, but also artists and technical artists. What does that mean? Storyboarding. You could be a storyboard artist working at a game studio. So there's all different kinds of careers. This is not just focused on coding and programming at this point. The very last module unit here then is the release your game. And this is where students learn about launching games, marketing their games. We go a little bit into like price point. What does that mean? Different platforms, consoles are addressed in here. So they're really wrapping up that project at the very end and then releasing the game.
Matt, we have a couple questions.
Yeah, Leanne, go ahead.
The first one is Mark said that he's new to game design and he asked, does API scripting offer a lot of value to Unity usage?
A lot of value to Unity usage. The API basically it helps to make the C# script or program interact with Unity. So Unity's API basically it's a library of things that are pre-developed or pre-coded. It's trying to think of a good way to describe this. You can tap into different things and from your C# script that will allow you to connect to game objects like a character or something that's in the game. You can call on that game object in your script and then be able to manipulate it and do different things with it based on what the player is doing in the game. I don't know if that's a good, if I explained that well enough. I've tried to make that concise, but let me know if that didn't answer your question. Other questions?
Yes, we have two. If we teach this course as a semester course, is there a recommendation on pacing and or what we can skip? Like do you have to include the 2D, 3D, and the VR in the curriculum?
Right, absolutely. Great question. It kind of depends on the standards that you're trying to address. So, like I said, this is a more comprehensive course, but your state or your wherever you're teaching may not have a very wide standard set that you are having to use. So maybe VR and AR and those kinds of things, maybe that's not addressed in there. VR is one that you could definitely remove. You could also remove the 3D piece if you really wanted to just get students in and start coding. I would not remove the 2D and keep the 3D. And the reason for that is because some of the scripting and programming concepts that they learn in that 2D unit, they're going to need for that 3D unit. So if you remove the 2D piece and leave the 3D unit, they're going to be missing some earlier prior knowledge that they need in order to be successful in that 3D unit. So my recommendation would be to remove the VR unit, remove the 3D unit. You could also put together some of the project units if you'd like to do that. Um, so yeah, those are my recommendations. I think that would streamline things a bit for you to be able to make it a semester long.
Thank you. The last question we have right now is if we have VR headsets, can we use them to run the VR lesson game, or will we need to use the simulator within CodeHS?
Sure. Yeah. If you have VR headsets, you can run those. It's a little bit more technical and complex to get it offloaded from Unity into your VR headset. You would have to do a VR build essentially. And when you do that, you're building to that specific device. So you're telling Unity, I want you to build to this. There's a little bit that helps you in the course, but not a lot. We do utilize OpenXR for the rendering pipeline, which will help you with most headsets. But what I have come to find out is that VR headsets are very particular. So what you design and develop for a Meta headset like Oculus is going to be something that's totally different than you might develop for, I don't know, a Samsung headset or whatever. They don't really work together very well. And when you go to build out your project. So I would recommend using a lot of the Unity documentation on how to export those or build those projects to that specific device. There's a little bit that helps you in the course, but there's not going to be a lot. So that is one way you could navigate that. All right. Any other questions?
Not right
We're
now.
good for right now. Okay, so like I said, scripting is going to be big in this course, which I'm excited about because I'm a big scripting fan. I enjoy doing the coding aspect of game programming. So this is really exciting. I'm excited about it. We have Unity docs that are built into all of our CodeHS editor exercises that are in the course. Students can build their C# scripts right within our editor and then download them and upload them into Unity. That's one method. However, if you do have an editor that you prefer at your school to use, like say VS Code or Notepad++ or some other editor, you're welcome to use that editor. And we do guide you in the course how to do that. One of the benefits of that is that by having a standalone editor on your own machine, like VS Code or something like that, Unity talks one-to-one with it pretty well. So when you update your code here, it updates in the project. Whereas using any online editor, you will need to download that code and then just throw it into your Unity project. So it's just a different process. And we teach you both of them in the course. So. All right, so we've got scripting in there. We have 2D game development, which I'm also really excited about because I love 2D game development. It's so much fun. We teach students how to use raster graphics and how to break out tile sets and use specific sprites and sprite sheets from those tile sets, how to create tile maps from those tile sets in Unity. All of that is included in this course. And those are all skills, like I said before, that are not currently in our game design and Unity course. And one of the things that I have found is that those are skills that are very common across a lot of course standards in multiple states. So we wanted to make sure that we were hitting a lot of those standards, as many as we could. So this is the Zany Slopes project that students will be building. And again, like I said, you can go to the overview page for this course, select the run, and there will be a link on there that will allow you to play this game online. You can play level 1 and level 2. They're both on there. I've got some audio in there too. Students, their games aren't going to look exactly like this. They're free and open to build every level however they want. They can put rocks and stumps and snowmen, and they can build the whole level is completely their design. This is just an example. So it can get you excited and get your students excited, your administration excited about what students are going to be building in this course. All right, so I talked a little bit about VR. This is a video clip of the VR piece. You can see the XR device simulator off to the side. This kind of allows you to do some of those VR controls and tracking mechanisms using a keyboard and mouse. So that's basically what the XR device simulator allows you to do. And we teach students what does it mean to track these different pieces and be able to do ray casting and be able to select objects. We teach them grabbing, interactive objects and things like that. So that's part of the VR element that's in the course now as well. Game design enhancements. The MDA game design framework is something that we teach students in this course. It's in that very first unit. That's something that was not involved in the current course. We also have an improved lesson on accessible player experience, and I'm really excited about this lesson. We guide students towards a model that's called the APX game design model, and it basically helps you to think as a developer and a game designer, how can you make this game accessible to the most players possible? And it really does a nice job of doing it. It's from Able Gamers. It's an association that deals a lot with educating game studios on how to make their video games more accessible to different players. And so we incorporated that model in this course as well. And I think it's a great introduction to making games accessible and how to design that. And then we also took a deeper dive into the game development process overall in the course. Something specific that you'll see in the coding pieces of the course is what's called the prim instructional approach. And if you have been listening to a lot of computer science instruction, different approaches and models lately, prim is one that's very, it's becoming very popular. It's basically introducing students to a set of code and helping them to predict what it's going to do first. Then they run it. In this course, we call play. We don't run programs. We play the program. We test it out in Unity. So they'll play their program. Then we investigate it. Why does it do what it does? Modify it, make some changes to it to see what we can change and do differently, and then make their own program based on that. We have, I think it's 2 or 3 different lessons in the basic scripting unit that uses this prim instructional approach to introduce students to different coding concepts. Something else that I want to point out that we have definitely heard a lot from teachers where they want more video, they want more clips, show us what these steps look like in Unity. So throughout this course, you'll find embedded videos on notes pages and different instructions. We've tried to incorporate more of those in the course to help guide you and your students along through the process of developing different types of games and experiences in Unity. So you'll find more of that in this course as well. In addition, so many more instructional enhancements that I'm excited to share with you, except I know that I am going to be running out of time soon. We have solution Unity project files for teachers. This is something that was not in game design and Unity course that we are now having, we're offering that in our game development Unity course. So in the very first lesson plan for this course, you'll find a link for teachers to go to a folder online that will give you access to the solutions of the projects, the Unity projects for the different lessons throughout the course. And so we are offering those project files to teachers. We're also offering some more guided instruction in the early modules through especially that coding, those newer concepts that students will be learning, solutions for free response reflections. We've enhanced all of those throughout the course. We're using an updated game design document template that's accessible in the course. We have an updated game development rubric that includes scripting. What would you want to look for in a student's project, specifically on their scripts? And so that's now included within our rubric. And we also offer Unity layout templates. I've heard a lot from teachers where a student accidentally closed one of the panels or one of the windows in Unity, and how do we get it back? We now have these layout template files that students can download. We give them the link. They download that layout template file, they load it right into Unity, and boom, all of their stuff comes right back on the screen. The layout is where we need everything to be. We have one for 2D and we have one for 3D. And that's because each of those different types of projects, you may want to use different types of windows. For example, you don't need the tile palette window open for 3D games, but you do for 2D games. So we've made two different layout files for you, and that'll quickly let your students get back on track to developing their games in Unity. All right, I've done enough talking. Hopefully I covered everything that you had questions about, but if not, please ask some questions right now and I will try to address those. And I'm going to go through what we got in the chat here, but if you also have questions, please put them in the Q&A and I'll take a look at those as well.
We don't have any questions in the chat as of now.
I see Mark says a CodeHS course in Unreal for C++ would be cool. That would be cool. There are so many game engines out there that are great. Hopefully the students, the skills that they learn by learning Unity and that, they'll be able to transfer a lot of those skills over to Unreal. I know that Unreal uses blueprints and there are a few different things that Unreal has that Unity doesn't. But a lot of the skill sets that they're going to learn here hopefully will then transfer over to that as well. And they'll have some additional learning to do with C++ too, but at least they'll get some basics and they'll be able to transfer that knowledge on. Prim stands for predict, run, which we call play in this course, investigate. I'm going to mess up the M's because I always mess them up. I think it's modify and make. Is that right?
Yes.
Leanne's telling me that's right. Okay, so there's your prim. Or PPIM, I guess, for the Unity course. But yeah, play is basically run. We're running the program. All
Mark,
right. Well,
Mark, you will receive, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no, you're fine. Go ahead, Leanne.
Mark, you will receive a copy of the slides and a copy of the recording into a email after the recording. And we do not have an attendance link for this one. We don't do attendance for our course launch webinars. William. Okay.
All right. Fantastic. Well, if you have any other questions, I do encourage you to check out the overview page. Just look for game dev or development in Unity in our course catalog online. You'll be able to find all the information there. So, and check out Zany Slopes. It's a lot of fun to play. All right, I'll turn it over to Leanne now.
All right, so thank you so much, Matt. That was actually amazing. That was a great presentation. Lots of great information, and I love the new updates. We have a couple things if you are interested in becoming a CodeHS certified educator. If you want to get involved with CodeHS a little bit more, we have a couple different ways to do this. We also have a Facebook educators group on Facebook and or CodeHS Facebook educators group. That was long. And then you can find us on social media at CodeHS all along. We have one other question that says, which version of C# does CodeHS currently use?
That is a really good question. I don't know the answer to that one. In our editor, we use C#. I'm not sure exactly which one is on our back end within the editor itself, but I do know that the code that the students will be creating that will work within Unity. So, and we give them the boilerplate information and the C# stuff. All of that's in the Unity docs as well. So there's a lot of good information there.
Thank you. It says that he said that I can look up and get the version command for the language and try it in Sandbox. All right.
Okay.
The next slide, please. We are wrapping up our summer webinars. We only have 2 left after today. We have on Thursday, we have collaborating with AI, and then next week we have an actual teaching game development in Unity where we have a teacher trainer that has been teaching game development for a while. She's going to go into this new course and actually go through and help set up and teach you some of the things that even more in depth, probably maybe than Matt went into. So you can join us for that one. And then our back to school webinars will start September 3rd. So you will start to see those populate on codehs.com/free PD very, very soon. And I will drop that link too, because I forgot that. If you are interested in bringing CodeHS to your school or to your district, you can join us and click on the link at codehs.com/learn more. And after that, I would say thank you so much. Thank you, Matt, for presenting. We can hang around for a couple more minutes and see if there's any more questions. Otherwise, thank you for taking your time out of the summer to learn about our new course that we have developed. Matt developed, not we. Matt developed.
It was a group effort. Thank you,
Thank you so
Leanne.
much.
Thanks, everybody.